I want to try to get into French music, actually.
French music?
Yeah.
Oh, my uncle's a French professor, and like he loves French rap, especially.
French, I've heard.
There's a really good artist called Stromae. He was really good.
How do you spell
You're
that?
welcome. like A-E, I think. Yeah, he was really good.
S-T-R-O-M-A-E? Like Stromae?
Stromae. Yeah, Stromae.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will save that. I will.
No, yeah, I think you might actually like it because his songs, like,
Yeah.
I just looked at the translations, but like they're really like
Yeah.
deep and like
Yeah.
really good like overall.
I also like, I don't know, like Indian rap is a new genre. And
No way.
yeah, I'm serious.
You need to hook me up. I
I will.
You
It's-
block that. I need that.
Yeah, it's like on the raw side, but it's up and coming. Yeah.
Okay, I need to listen to that.
Okay, so
I'll send Mikey some or something. I'll send your Instagram. I'll message.
okay.
Yeah.
Some.
Oh, for it. And the Indian rap.
For it,
We can start the new trend.
I
Okay.
need that. That's a new wave.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm your host, Justin Morgan, and welcome to episode 13 of Success HS. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Mikey Payne.
Hey guys, it's Mike here. We've got another great guest for you guys today. Her name is Roma Bhatia, and she's a good friend of mine and also a junior at Washington High. She has extensive experience mentoring, implementing, and designing multiple STEM projects that have greatly benefited our community, and especially in the Silicon Valley, created a new environment for young leaders to thrive. How's it going, Roma?
I'm doing good today. How about you guys?
Great. Another day of Success HS. Alright, so I wanted to kick off this podcast by talking about your leadership role in your high school robotics club. So can you kind of talk about how you kind of became the president of the Washington High School Robotics Club and just kind of how you've developed that club as a leader?
Sure. So Robotics Club at Washington was established in 2008. So I believe this is our 10th year. And, you know, I had joined the club in my freshman year, and all of the officers were seniors. And when the time came around for elections, I just decided to run for president, and then I was elected. So that's just how I became president. But one thing I noticed in my first year of being president was that Robotics Club didn't really have an on-campus presence. So I decided to really work on marketing the club and, you know, doing activities that were really engaging with the club to expand past the stereotypical vision of what robotics really is. In our first year, we went to the Maker Faire, the San Mateo Maker Faire, for one day. And you know, some of the club kids' projects were like an electric skateboard or you know, a Twitter mood light and different things like that. Yeah, so that's what I basically did as president. Yeah, and then like I guess this year, my second year as president, I've not only been working on expanding what Robotics Club really means at WHS, but also trying to get more kids involved. Like, that's always been my goal, to expose as many kids as possible to STEM, because a lot of people just have, especially in the Silicon Valley, all they think about STEM is programming. So what we're actually doing is we're expanding that to teach them computer-aided designing, to teach them, you know, how to build websites, to teach them how to build something with their hands, to, you know, we're teaching them circuitry and just a bunch of various skills that come from different fields of engineering and different fields of STEM.
Awesome. So as you guys have grown the club and just part of your overall experience with robotics, you mentioned something called the First Tech Challenge, and you're a team leader for that, and how are you able to manage each person's different dynamic personality while at the same time ensuring that you guys could work together to create the robot or solve the prompt for that year?
So I think my experience in competing in the First Tech Challenge and First Lego League has been a relatively fun experience. When tackling that issue of having all of the team members contributing and working together, I think that really just comes from the basic sense of respect, and that each person has their own skills which they're good at. And each person, especially I always emphasize this in my club and like whatever situation I'm working in, is that each person belongs in a place, because everyone belongs basically. No matter how much experience you have, no matter what skills you know or you don't know, everyone belongs. And just being able to acknowledge that and let people explore their own skills and what they're interested in, and then find their own kind of niche skill which they want. I find that to be the best ways for everyone to be able to collaborate.
So basically slotting them into a role that you feel like would suit them, and in that way they're kind of empowered to do like what, because they feel, oh yeah, this is my specialty, or like this is what I'm good at. And then once everyone finds that and you guys are clicking, that's when you can have great results as a team.
Yes, but at the same time, it's not like just because you're good at one thing, it doesn't mean that you can
Don't
explore.
limit yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you can limit yourself to that one skill. And it's not really like me or any higher authority really saying that, oh, you're good at this, you have to do this. Yeah, it's kind of just like people find out by themselves just by exploring.
Yeah, so obviously unity and bringing people together is one of the main issues of leadership. But I kind of wanted to ask you, are there any other major issues you dealt with as a leader?
Yeah, I think two of the major issues were like, first of all, like funding was a huge one. The tech industry is changing so often that anything that you try to go out and buy, whether it's materials for your project or it could be a software that isn't free, it's just so expensive, and you have to be able to raise the funds for that. So being a leader in a club has not only taught me that you don't only need to have the knowledge, but you also need to have the skills to go out and raise funds, or like kind of like business skills almost.
Yeah.
You need to
marketing yourself in your club.
Exactly. You need to have those as well. Another kind of hardship that I would say is being able to effectively teach or get your message across. So a lot of times when teaching, kids in our club, they come in at different levels. Whether it's they already know a whole programming language and they know whatever I'm talking about.
They're fully like into
they're fully into it, or whether it's coming and you're completely new to this. I have to start at a point where everyone can learn from. And if there's a person who's falling behind or a person who's way ahead, then I would gladly give up my lunch time or my spare time to really be able to sit down with them and teach them. So I'm always kind of there for all of the club members.
Awesome. So I'm gonna give you like a scenario. So let's say me or basically any other person who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience in robotics or technology who want to join the club. How would you get their feet wet and get them started on that path and kind of inspire them to start?
Yeah, so the first thing we do in the club actually is we have the main event at school where you market your club as Club Rush, right? So every year the officers build a robot in the summer, and we built a robot and we go out there and it goes around campus. This year's was that you could basically play catch with it. So the first thing that we make the kids do is we show them the different parts that are being used in the robot, and then they get to disassemble the robot. So they're able to get their feet wet by like basically being hands-on, and that's a really important thing about STEM. Whether it's learning, how to set up something or how to disassemble something, because even taking apart something can tell you how it was made back together. So, through the disassembling of this robot, they're able to learn about, the different parts and like how you mount a motor onto a robot and different things like that.
Yeah, that's been a proven that's a proven study by Khan Academy, taking kids or students to levels that they're comfortable learning at, and then building up from there. And you've developed that leadership style through this club, and that's awesome. Yeah. And just a message to all the people that may be presidents of clubs or starting out clubs, just take your students or kids to levels where they can learn at comfortably, and then just build up from there the skills that they need.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. As a person who's teaching, you definitely need to adjust your teaching style to your students.
Yeah, and it's just amazing the amount of sacrifice and service that you've put into the club, and that's super apparent with how successful it's been. And also, so obviously you're very passionate about STEM, and we can see that through all through all the activities you're involved with at school. And so, are there any new innovations in our world that you're excited about, and just how does our world approach STEM today?
Yeah, so I would say a couple of new innovations that I'm really excited about. So they're starting to build mini quantum computers. So like the computers will be like this small, you know, like an inch big, or like even smaller than that. And like it'll be like almost 10 to 16 times as fast as a regular computer or a computer that you're working on right now. Another one that I think is already coming out is like foldable smartphones. Samsung, I believe they either released a prototype or they're trying to release a product early next year, where your smartphone can actually fold and you can still use both sides of the touchscreen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I think, you know, locally in the Silicon Valley, I think our society approaches STEM with a very narrow mindset in general. Where like the first thing that you'll think about STEM, especially if you're living in the Silicon Valley, is like programming, and like Facebook, Google, anything that's software based. So I feel like a lot of the hardware part is lacking. So our club not only works to basically foster that foster the software side, but also the hardware side and anything that's in between, like circuitry or, you know, electronics and things like that.
Yeah, and so just one more question. You work with educating a lot of students with STEM, right? And so I just wanted to ask, we're a pretty tech-based community here in the Bay Area, and so I wanted to ask how much is there a need for engineering jobs and STEM jobs in our community?
Oh, it's huge. Just to give you kind of an idea, so there's 1 to 2 billion devices out in the world, and we only have 16 million developers. This is just software engineering that I'm talking about. So, and I don't think it occurs to people that there are people working to manage these devices and
exactly. There's a face behind the screen. It's not just like one thing and it all just happens on a computer. Like someone's working on this to build it and, you know, update it, and they're constantly connected.
Exactly, and so there's actually worldwide, not just locally, there's a huge shortage of software developers. And when I'm saying software developers, I'm talking about only one field of engineering. If you talk about like different fields of engineering, of course, there's a shortage of engineers. And I think there always will be, because the world is always innovating collectively. We're always questioning what we know, and we're trying to push the limits of what we know. So I think, you know, we're definitely like the world does have a need for engineering. So yeah.
Awesome. So you've given us your thoughts on great parts of engineering, building a community, and also helping little kids. Now we're going to go into a segment called Mikeys 3 Questions, which can kind of reveal some of your personal interests and kind of bring a fun connection to the audience. For my first question, Roma, what is your favorite style of music, and why are you attracted to this style of music?
So I would say my favorite genre of music is Korean pop, also known as K-pop, and the reason for that is that I definitely used to listen to American pop before, and I still do, but I feel like the lyrics that, you know, Korean artists use are much more meaningful to me, and they have a purpose. Like there's a purpose to the music. Personally, I feel that there should always be a purpose to something that you make, whether it's music or whether it's like something that you build. So the lyrics just, you know, kind of struck a chord with me when they talked about, you know, like hardships that you faced, or, you know, kind of overcoming adversity. So that just really struck a chord with me, and that's why I listened to it. Yeah.
All right, so for my next question, it's about languages, and what would be your preferred method to teach or immerse someone in a language that they'd like to learn, and maybe they want to learn it for business, travel, or school, but they've always like thought about it, like what if I knew this language, but they've never really had the courage to start.
Mm-hmm. So I think I actually went through that experience myself. The first thing that I would do is, you know, I would start off with basically just learning the alphabet, and then starting to listen to the music, watching TV shows, because that's how I ended up learning Korean, personally, and just if you immerse yourself in the culture, then you will be able to learn the language, and you might even be able to learn some of the slang too.
Cool. For my last one, we've obviously talked a lot about your experiences in technology, and I want to know, was there any particular person, mentor, or even like a place or a campus that you visited that kind of got your gears spinning for technology even more than they already were?
Interestingly, I have to say that teaching other people got me more interested. It got me more passionate about STEM, and it also expanded my views, because I had kids coming up to me who would ask me about things that I personally didn't know about, and I would go home and I would research them. I would learn them, and I think that just made me more interested. I think a person that I would thank for introducing me to STEM would probably be my dad, just because he was the one who introduced me to it. It was his job, and I remember in 5th grade I was just looking over his shoulder and seeing how things worked, and I got interested myself, and that's how I started learning. So it was just that tiny exposure of STEM that has led me all the way here to being involved with robotics club and everything.
Yeah, and so Roma, just to shout out our social medias and everything. Just a quick shout out. I understand you have a YouTube channel. Would you like to shout out your YouTube channel?
Okay. For those of you who like K-pop and like watching dance covers or reaction videos, I do have a YouTube channel. It's called Tomatoes Corner with an apostrophe S. Yeah, that's my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Awesome.
Instagram, Snapchat?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Okay.
Not yet.
And for our YouTube channel, guys, it's Success HS, and like you saw with our last episode with Joshua, the one about Mamba mentality, we've posted that one. It's been up there, and we're going to do the same with Roma's, and you guys have really given us a great boost of support. We have almost 200 listens when we just switched over to our new platform, so please keep it up, and we're super excited to deliver more guests. Justin, do you want to shout out your personal Instagram?
Yeah, man, you guys know you can follow me at CoachKid30 on Instagram, and at just-time30 on Snapchat.
And for me, my Instagram is Mikey_painbrain, and our Success HS Instagram, where you can follow for the latest news and what's doing Success HS, is success.hs.
And congrats to you guys for getting 200 listens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thanks. We just kind of taken what we had and ran with it, and we're also planning some more stuff in the future in other parts of media, and maybe even live events too. So,
yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah, lots of new ideas. And if you guys have any ideas or any suggestions, just hit us up on our Success HS Instagram, or just send us a quick email. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Roma, for a great interview. We're all hoping for the continued success of the Washington High School Robotics Club, and it's just been great to hear from the perspective of someone that's so immersed in the STEM culture. So thank you for a great interview, and
thank you for hosting me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so tune in for episode 14. Peace.
All right, thanks guys. Awesome.
Yay.
That wasn't too bad.
That was good.
Wasn't that relatively quick?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. That was
It
like,
doesn't take
that
long.
was like 15 minutes ish. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That was
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, and so, remember how when I interviewed Sunil,
Yeah.
and he was talking about how he was doing some like R&D, like research and development.
Okay.
Oh, R&D.
Yeah.
That's like amazing to work in that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were talking. So like, I was talking
Can you
to.
stop the camera too?
Oh.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
I think you guys should totally do that, like a behind the scenes part.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff to do, but just the